when someone you love stops valuing you. It's a disorienting, painful experience that can leave you feeling hollow, confused, and questioning your own worth. One moment, everything seemed fine, and the next, you're met with coldness, distance, and indifference from someone who once made you feel seen, wanted, and loved. It's one of the hardest realities to accept, that someone who once meant so much to you, who perhaps once said they'd always be there, no longer sees your value in their life. The natural instinct for many is to chase, to try harder, to please more, to fix things. But that impulse, while deeply human, is often the very thing that makes the situation worse. The moment you sense that she no longer values you, not just that she's having a bad day or going through a rough patch, but that deep down, she's no longer invested, no longer respects you, no longer sees your presence as a privilege, you need to pause. Not react out of emotion, not argue or plead, but truly pause and assess. This is where your strength, dignity, and sense of self-worth must come into play. You need to realize that no one, no matter how beautiful, charming, or once loving they were, is worth losing your self-respect over. Because when someone doesn't value you, they are already taking your time, your energy, and your emotional investment for granted. The longer you stay in that dynamic, the more it chips away at your sense of self. The first thing you must do immediately is to pull back. This doesn't mean you disappear without communication or ghost her. It means you stop overextending yourself. You stop trying to fix what's not being reciprocated. You stop putting in 100% when you're only getting 30% back. Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and the moment it's gone, love quickly becomes toxic or one-sided. Pulling back isn't a tactic to make her miss you or manipulate her into caring again. It's a decision you make for your own mental and emotional health. It's how you show yourself that you deserve better than crumbs. When you pull back, something powerful happens. First, you create space for clarity. In the heat of emotional chaos, it's hard to see things clearly. But once you're no longer caught in the daily emotional roller coaster, you begin to see patterns, behaviors, and truths you might have been blind to. Maybe she was always self-centered, and you just overlooked it because you loved her. Maybe she slowly stopped respecting you because you consistently put her on a pedestal while neglecting your own needs. Or maybe she changed, and that's okay. People grow apart, but the real question becomes, are you growing with her or being left behind? The second thing that happens when you pull back is that you give her a chance to notice the absence. Sometimes, people don't realize what they have until it's gone. Now, this isn't about being manipulative. It's about letting the consequences of her emotional distance play out. If you keep pouring yourself into someone who is emotionally unavailable, you're shielding them from the natural consequences of their actions. By stepping back, you're allowing the relationship to breathe and allowing both of you to confront what's real, not what's idealized or wished for. As you pull back, you must also pour into yourself. Redirect that emotional energy you've been giving away into your own life. Reconnect with friends, hit the gym, pursue your passions, take care of your physical and mental health, and most importantly, rediscover your own value. Not because you want to win her back, but because you deserve to feel good about who you are, with or without her validation. Confidence, self-respect, and a sense of purpose are magnetic, but more than that, they are the foundation of a fulfilling life. You can't build happiness on the shaky ground of someone else's inconsistent love. This is where self-reflection becomes essential. Ask yourself the hard questions. Why did I tolerate being undervalued? Was I afraid of being alone? Did I think I couldn't do better? Was I confusing familiarity with connection? Often, we accept poor treatment not because we're weak, but because deep down, we're afraid. Afraid that this is the best we'll get. Afraid of starting over. Afraid of letting go of the dream we once had. But fear is a terrible reason to stay in a place where you're not cherished. Love should never feel like begging for scraps. Letting go is hard, but holding on to someone who no longer values you is harder in the long run. Every time you excuse their disrespect, every time you ignore the red flags, every time you silence your own needs to keep the peace, you're shrinking yourself. And eventually, you start to forget who you were before the relationship. The version of you that laughed freely, that had dreams, that had confidence. You owe it to yourself to find that person again. If she doesn't value you, the most powerful thing you can do is to move on with grace. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with a quiet confidence that says, I know my worth. You don't need to announce it. Your actions will show it. You don't chase someone who walks away from you. You let them go, and you trust that life has something better in store. Often, the universe removes people from our lives not to punish us, but to clear the space for someone who will truly see, appreciate, and love us the way we deserve. This doesn't mean you don't grieve. Losing someone you care about, even if they didn't value you, still hurts. It's okay to feel sad, to cry, to mourn the version of the relationship you once had. Healing is not about suppressing emotions. It's about moving through them. But even as you grieve, hold on to the truth. Your value doesn't decrease because someone else failed to see it. Her inability to appreciate you speaks more about her than it does about you. At some point, you'll be tempted to reach out again, to try one more time, to explain how you feel. And if you must, do it once, clearly and respectfully. But if the energy is still cold, if the response lacks care or accountability, let that be your answer. You deserve mutual effort. You deserve someone who chooses you every day, not just when it's convenient or when they're bored or lonely. Love is shown in consistency, not in grand gestures after long periods of emotional neglect. And don't fall into the trap of trying to prove your worth. Your worth is not something that needs to be proven, especially not to someone who's already decided not to see it. You are valuable by virtue of who you are, not because of how hard you try to earn someone's love. Any love that requires you to constantly prove yourself is not love. It's a transaction, and often an unhealthy one. You also need to remember this. There is peace in acceptance. The moment you stop resisting what is and start accepting the truth of your situation is the moment you begin to heal. She doesn't value you anymore, not because you're not worthy, but because for whatever reason, she's no longer in a place to appreciate who you are. That's her journey, not your failure. You can grieve that, acknowledge it, and still choose to move forward with strength. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your worth. Friends, family, mentors, people who love you not for what you do, but for who you are. In times like these, isolation can be dangerous. The mind can spiral into self-doubt and false narratives. So don't withdraw completely. Stay connected. Be around those who lift you up,